Hello Internet, welcome to my tech review. Let's do another quarantine content during these unprecedented times. So today we're going to talk about protection, and by protection I mean protection of your equipment at home from the power outages and blips and all the different trouble your current modern grid, electrical grid can introduce to your infrastructure. If you think about it, most of the systems and computers you have in your house represent significant dollar investment, and you depend on them to be up and running all the time without any issues. However, all the troubleshooting steps you might be seeing are imminent in case of the power outage, disconnect of the power source. In case of the complex infrastructures like VMware, multiple layers of connectivity between the systems and storage units and network equipment, all of those, if any of the components blips or disconnects or disappear from the network or disappear from the horizon at some particular time, that might trigger cascaded events in your infrastructure which will lead to multiple crashes of the systems, and that will present a lot of trouble and also introduce a lot of time to actual troubleshooting and fixing. So in my case, I run VMware and I have lots of servers also connected to two Synology units. They go through 10 gigabit switch. In any of those infrastructure goes out, my data sources will be removed and my OS will crash, and I have that before. Then in case of the power outage due to these events, my Solaris server, for example, in VMware will not boot properly and introduce a lot of issues, and basically the problem is the boot disk, which you have to fix, and it's not pretty at all. So I know you've probably done it before, and you know this, I've been there, done that kind of deal, but it's, for me, in my case, it didn't work very well initially before I found the proper steps. And if you need the steps for Solaris 10, for example, let me know in the comments down below and I will share mine. And if you have something more advanced and more robust and troubleshooting procedures for Linux boot disks or Solaris boot disks or Windows even in that case, especially if you run mirror configuration or you run RAID or stripe sets, in case of that troubleshooting, it might be tricky. So if you have very good expertise in that, I appreciate your help in sharing your knowledge down below. That will help not only me, but also the other people who actually read the comments in this video and find it useful to actually get infrastructure up and running in no time. Alright, so what is the solution for all of these power grid issues? Especially during the summer, you have thunderstorms, you have lightning, you have construction in your area, unexpected, somebody cut the cable and the whole power goes down for the whole unit, for the whole block. And sometimes it's just a couple seconds, just a blip in case of the lightning. Still, you will see that the power goes up and goes down and immediately go back up. But that's enough to actually, for your servers to actually go down and register that as a power outage. And the whole recovery procedure, it's not pleasant at all. And system will see it and it will give you the prompt and saying, I can unable to boot. Or in case of the Windows, you think you're safe with the Windows? No. In that case, you will also see the blue screen, and it will show you and advise you to go through recovery procedure as well, which sometimes allows automatic recovery, sometimes that works. But in most of the cases, in my experience, it will ask you to go to command line prompt and actually do things manually and potentially search Google for solutions to how to fix one thing or the other. Well, how to avoid all this mess? You ask me, and my answer has been there, and like my answer is pretty straightforward and it's been there for quite some time. Uninterruptible power supply, or uninterruptible power source, if we call it. UPS. And UPS is very critical for your infrastructure, especially if you are dependent on this system very much, like I do. For all these Wi-Fi routers and stuff, and like connectivity and your system, your storage, your data stores, all of those important for you. Your video work production, you're doing photo work production, all of those. If it's external powers, if it's external storage especially, you need UPS. In case of the laptop, you don't, because laptop got its own power. But what about the rest of the infrastructure? What about the rest of the systems? Are you protecting those in any way? Did you think about protecting those? If you didn't, then I suggest you do, because sometimes this troubleshooting can be for hours. and avoiding that in the first place is a big deal, and it's worth every penny which you spend for your UPS units. In terms of the selection of UPS units for consumer market, we will have three main players. Mostly, if you look in on Amazon, that's what you will see: APC, CyberPower, and Triplite. All of them are pretty good companies with lots of experience in this particular area. Some of them do in production and industrial kind of UPS units, which like big power battery backup. Like consider that as a power bank on steroids, which will run your systems in case of the power outage. And in most of the cases, this time can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes max, but it should be enough to initiate system-wide shutdown and safely shut down your servers before the power got completely disconnected. And that's the whole thing. That's the change in the whole narrative, the whole story, because if your system goes down gracefully, there is no data loss, there is no data corruption. Once your power is back up, you just boot up and you continue. Of course, inconvenience would be that while you wait for the power to come back, but at least you don't have any troubleshooting steps involved in this, and once the power is up, you're back up and running. So in my case, I have two UPS units, and those are APC 1500 watts, and the power like volt to amperage 1500 value was calculated based on a total power draw which I estimated for all my computers and storage units with a little bit of overhead. Always add a little bit of overhead, and in that case you will have a little bit extra time, which might be exactly those couple 2 minutes which will allow your system to finish shutdown before UPS will say nope, no more battery going down, right? The other thing would be is to also connect the USB cable from UPS unit back to your system. I connected mine to my ESXi hosts, and ideally it would be nice to have that APC or UPS management units inside vCenter, which will allow me to manage vCenter and say, if the power goes down and my battery is critical and I have to shut down, these are priority of the VMs I have to shut down first before everything else. If you know about that solution, put it in the comments down below. Really appreciate your help, because right now I connected those and presented those 8 USB connections directly to my VMware clients. One goes to Windows 2012 server, the other one goes to Windows 10 machine, which I'm using a lot as well, and I'm dependent on that. That's the idea here, right? You have this backline connected back to UPS, which will allow you to monitor health of the battery as well, and monitor health of the UPS units. But the most critical part, that system will actually trigger shutdowns in case battery is getting low and you're running on the batteries. In my case, I have on one UPS unit, I think I have 6 minutes estimated power on the battery due to all the things I have connected, and on the other one I think it's 10 or something. But very low numbers, but should be enough to shut down properly. So the next thing would be is to actually monitor the battery health. UPS batteries are usually run for about like 2-3 years solid maximum, and then you have to replace them, because it depends on how much your usage is, but you know, battery has to charge and discharge and all that stuff to work properly. In case of UPSs, you have your system connected, it's not charging and discharging a lot of times. So eventually you will see that as UPS unit will do its power test, regular power test, and actual battery check, it will say, oh, my battery check failed, and it will start to beep, and you will hear it because it will also beep from the unit directly. If you run in monitoring software, you will see it in monitoring software as well. In that case, what should you do? You should start planning replacing that battery. Ideally, you would have it already ready for replacement, but most of us do not. And of course, the extreme would be don't do UPS and then just install power generator, but that's not gonna work for most of us. UPS is the way to go. So what I did is actually I went on and my battery went off like about 2 weeks apart from each other, and they start to beep. Of course, I went into the units and I muted the button, and it stopped beeping, but it still shows that estimated time run on the battery is 0. So what else can you do in that case? You have to go to actual vendors like APC or Triplite or CyberPower directly to get batteries from them. You can also get them from Amazon, but if you get them from Amazon, there's lots of offers, and there is a lot of non-genuine parts. You know this mantra, like use genuine parts only kind of deal. This is very, very true in case of UPS batteries. I read a lot of reviews about APC batteries which different vendors kind of provide, and it says it will work with APC UPS. But if you read reviews, you will see that some people complain like, I installed the battery and it died flat out, right, like 2 weeks after I installed it, and it's no longer valid, and you have to return it and all this hassle. So price-wise, if you go to the vendor directly, to apc.com, in my case apc.ca, the price difference is not that much, like maybe $5–7 on the battery cartridge. But what APC also gives you, in my case, was, if in case of APC, I didn't check the triplet or like CyberPower, but most likely they are the same. What they give you label printed for the actual shipment, so you can send your old batteries back to APC for recycle for free. Wow, in this case, everybody wins. You're saving the planet, you're avoiding hassle of trying to see what to do right now with dead batteries, because sometimes recycling small batteries like AAA, you can do it very easily, like go to the stores and usually you will see this recycling battery booth and you can go and drop in there. But what about the big ones? Big ones are sometimes a problem. In that case, this problem is resolved by the means of APC. They give you a label, you print it, you send it over, Canada Post or UPS, whatever you decide to do. No problem here. So this is what I did. I actually got this battery, I found them, and replacement of the cartridge and APC units, it's not very complicated task, it's pretty much trivial, but that was a good idea also to actually see your power management and see how the power cablings going into your APC units. You can maybe use that opportunity to rearrange and rebalance your power. For example, I have server with 2 power supplies. My one power supply goes to battery driven backup, and the other one goes directly to just surge protecting line on the other unit. So this way you will get most of your UPS units. Change your labels. Labeling of the cables is very important, especially if you try to disconnect and connect proper cables on the back. You will have to decide which one goes to what. This one goes to surge protection, this one goes to battery protected output. Labeling is important. Take your time, make sure your labels up to par, they fade in a time so you can replace them. Make sure your powerhouse and cabling is in order, and use that opportunity to change that. Alright, let's jump directly into replacement of the batteries. It's very easy to do, and I'll show you every step of the way how it's done. Alright guys, so this is the rack, and we have to go ahead and replace the batteries of these 2 CPUs on these 2 UPSs. One of them is dead completely, the other one is still flashing, so probably need reset. But it's basically getting the information load on the battery. Where is it? Here, events, estimated downtime run on a monitor 26 minutes. So this one is maybe okay, but this one is dead for sure. Yeah, estimated time. There is no power right now drained from these UPSs. The only network is running and it's partially shut down anyway. So I'm gonna have to replace this. These are new battery packs which I received from APC, and those gonna go inside. So let's power off and change those. Now the cable management is a separate story on this thing, but have to basically disconnect all of those and trace them back to the servers and to the storage and connect them back properly, so main components are on battery power in case of the power failure, and non-essential components are on just regular protected circuits. So let's do one by one and change the battery, start it up, and we'll see how that's gonna work. Alright, right now disconnected pretty much everything, so all the cables are here. This is a mess. Have to figure it out how to connect them properly and in proper order, so probably gonna be a lot of work here. But for now, just gonna disconnect the main power from UPS and take one unit one by one. Alright, so the way we take it out is just this cover comes here, unclip it, and there's a battery right here, here and here. So there are two of those. So I got my packages here, it's the same battery. So basically like a cartridge, you take this out, you get new batteries in, and that's pretty much it. And then you power it up, and it should be working fine. So, and you got your package from APC. That's what you're gonna get. So it's instructions, manual. See here, it's APC original. So I recommend to buy only original APC batteries, because there are lots of problems with non-original stuff. So here is the instructions. You open up the cover and you get the cartridge back in. That's pretty much it. Not a big brainer, so it's pretty straightforward. And there is a model number and there is a signature of the person potentially who was packaging these things up. Okay, so we'll take it out, install it over here. This is the connectors, and then close it up and fire it up. Okay, I powered it up and it's running exclusively right now on the battery, and the time is showing up is on battery power. It's gonna run for 63 minutes with no load at all. So the battery probably not fully charged, but that's okay. So we're gonna put it to charge right now, and let's see here it's actually fully charged, but it's beeping because there is no electrical power connected. It's running entirely on the UPS right now on the battery. Okay, so in order for me to start thinking about how to connect that stuff together, we'll need to power on these two blocks right there. So just make sure there is enough room between them, so they're standing strong together. There is a load on it. Here we go. Event 0. Estimated time 63 minutes. They're two the same models. So this is one 1300 Pro and this one is 1300 Pro. However, surprisingly enough, this guy shows 123 minutes remaining. This guy shows only 63 minutes remaining. Interesting. Alright, so this is the final for now. I got some sockets which are still available for the master primarily. Most of the battery power is being used. So I have distributed this particular box because there are two power supplies here. So one goes to UPS, the other one goes direct, just in case, so it will save the power on the battery. These machines are two goes directly to UPS power. This goes to UPS power, one on each side. All the and USB 10 gig switch goes on UPS as well. So the rest of it is just directly connected. So I have 6 consumers for the battery. All of them are used, and I think few consumers for direct, just regular surge protection. So we'll see how that's gonna go. But for now, it's done. So everything is up and running, just a matter of restarting all my VMs, checking the ESX server, and getting this guy a recognized UPS connector on the USB to VM and potentially to Windows 2012 server, potentially, because it's easier for management for UPS, and getting that configured so it will shut down everything once we have power problem, or at least start shutting down once the battery goes low. Okay, so the other benefit of buying directly from APC, they send you a link to the website that you print the coupon, which will allow you to send these batteries back to APC for actual refurbished. So they will look at these batteries and fix them and refurbish them and send them back. But the thing is, it will save you trouble utilizing this battery and recycling them. So all you have to do is just pack them back into these boxes, print the labels, and it will be free for you. Okay, these two guys are ready right now to be sent back to APC for recycle program and potentially refurbish and send over to new clients. Okay, so this is under load. Everything is plugged in right now and power up. So you see here 6 minutes
on the one UPS and 2 minutes only on the other. That tells you something about the load on these UPSs, APCs. But let me see how much power it drains. 243 watts, and this guy is 190, 200 watts.
Alright guys, that's it for today's review. I cannot stress this enough how important it is to protect your infrastructure with battery-driven backups. Get yourself APC, Triplet, CyberPower, whatever your vendor of choice would be, but make sure your critical infrastructure is protected. It doesn't seem like much, but it's really worth it, and trust me, you would not regret it having this backup for the power, because it's really important. Like I said, I cannot stress enough. If you've been to these troubleshooting steps even once, you will understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, if you like this video, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. Use this time and opportunity to learn more, to do your cleanup, to do your production, to do lots of stuff inside your house. Organize things, make sure everything is in order, and stay safe. Peace.